I'm certain my faith is true.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah, are you really sure? Can you even be sure? And most importantly, do you really need to be sure? I was speaking for a conference recently, and I said something that proved to be incredibly controversial. The students were talking with me about it for hours afterwards, some passionately disagreeing with me. What did I say that was so controversial? I said, you don't have to be certain to know something. You don't have to be certain to have faith, and you probably can't even be certain about your faith. A lot of students came up to me and said, no, I'm certain that my faith is true. And some of them seemed even threatened that I would question their certainty. And I think this is really important for us to talk about and understand, because I think there are a lot of Christians who try to manufacture a false sense of confidence and live in denial about their doubts and their questions because they think that that's what it means to have faith. And then what eventually happens to some of them is that they have a doubt or a question that is very serious and they can't pretend that it doesn't exist. And just the mere existence of that doubt causes them to question whether they have faith at all. You think you're being strong with this kind of perspective, but if your faith depends on certainty, it's actually extremely fragile. One doubt, one answered question, or even the feeling that your faith might be false will break it with just the slightest pressure. But this framework of either certainty and faith or doubt and disbelief is totally wrong. And I'm going to try to give you what I think is a much more solid foundation for your faith to rest on than certainty. We're going to do that through 3 points. 1, certainty is unrealistic. 2, knowledge doesn't need certainty. And 3, faith doesn't need certainty. We're going to go a bit down the philosophical rabbit hole with these ideas, but I think the end result is so helpful that it's worth it. So first, certainty is unrealistic. What is certainty? Well, the phrase "I'm sure" in the colloquial sense just means I think I have a really good reason to believe that this is true. And if that's all we mean, then of course we can be sure about a lot of things. But philosophically speaking, certainty is a much stronger claim that seems almost unachievable. There's a lot of debate over definitions, as there is in everything in philosophy, but there are at least 2 kinds of certainty. Epistemic certainty is achieved when our evidence is so strong that it's not possible for us to be wrong. And psychological certainty is a subjective state where someone feels absolutely no doubt about a belief. And almost nothing in this life seems achievable with either of these levels of certainty. If I want to go to the grocery store, am I absolutely certain that I'm going to get there safely? Of course not. How could I be? By the way, are you certain you've hit the subscribe button? If not, you should probably make sure. Certainty was the problem of the philosopher René Descartes, and he was trying to get to certainty. But he said that, what if everything in the external world was just an illusion created by something trying to deceive you? How can you be certain that it's not? His philosophical bedrock was, I think, therefore I am. And he worked backwards from there to try to restore his confidence in all of reality. If you can somehow get to that level of philosophical certainty in this life, congratulations. But I don't think that we need to go to such extremes. Why? Well, because it seems like there's a lot of things that we know, even if we aren't certain. So our second point is that you don't need certainty for knowledge. The definition of knowledge is another huge debated concept amongst philosophers, but the common definition is justified true belief. And you need each of these 3 elements in order to know that something is true. You need justification, which is a reason for knowing that something is true, because if you don't have a reason, then you're just getting lucky. You need truth, because you can't actually know something that's false. And you need belief, because you can't know something that you don't even believe in. So as long as you have a justified true belief, you know something. And one of those students that was really worked up about certainty came up to me later in the week, and we had continued our conversation, and I helped him to understand this definition of knowledge, and it really seemed to help him. You know why? I think it's because it's missing certainty. You don't need to be absolutely certain to know that something is true. Even if you still have doubts or questions, you can know. This is how we treat knowledge in the real world. When I get groceries and I come back to my car, do I really know that it's my car? Well, what if someone stole my car and replaced it with one that looked exactly like it? Well, my key can unlock it. But what if a talented pickpocket stole my key and replaced it with a new one while I was deciding whether to get peanut butter crunch or Life cereal? I don't know, I'd like to think that I would notice if something like that was happening. But I can't absolutely prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is my car. But do I know that it's my car? Yes, I've got great reasons to believe that it is, and I don't have to disprove every possible conspiracy theory to know that it's mine. And this is really important. Even if I've got some unresolved questions, like I thought I parked it over there, but it's actually over there, I'm still gonna put my groceries in and drive home. In other words, even if I'm not certain, I'm going to put my faith in my car. So point number 3 is you don't need certainty for faith. Again, this is so important because if you believe you need certainty to have faith, your faith is extremely fragile. The moment you have a doubt or a question, you're gonna think that you don't believe anymore. But faith and doubt can coexist. Just because you doubt something doesn't mean that you don't believe it. In fact, doubt requires belief. You can only doubt something that you still believe in. If you don't believe in it, then it's just disbelief, not doubt. And even if I have doubts or questions, if I choose to get in my car and drive away, then I'm putting my faith in my car. In the same way, you can have doubts and questions about your faith and still know that it's true and have faith by trusting in God. God actually honors that kind of faith. In Mark 9, we read about the story of the demon-possessed boy whose father came to Jesus for healing. The disciples tried to heal him, but they couldn't. So he says to Jesus, "If you can do anything, please help us." Jesus seems to immediately sense his doubt and says, "If you can, all things are possible for one who believes." Now, if I was that father, I might be tempted to say, if. Did I say if? I meant because you can help us, please do. This would be trying to manufacture a false sense of confidence and hiding my doubts and my questions. And this is what I think I would have to do if I believed that faith requires certainty. But that's not what this father does. He immediately says, "I believe, help my unbelief." He's honest about his doubts and his questions, but he trusts in Jesus anyway. And that faith is rewarded as Jesus heals his son and cures his doubts. So in conclusion, I hope you find this encouraging. You don't have to pursue an unachievable, unrealistic goal of certainty to know that your faith is true. You can know it's true, and you can choose to trust in God without certainty. And I'm not encouraging you to doubt your faith. I'm encouraging you to be unafraid of having questions. Don't live in denial of the doubts that you have. Address them and find answers with boldness, knowing that you still have faith. Do you have someone in your life who seems absolutely certain that their faith is true? Send them this video so that they can think about whether they need that certainty. This channel is sponsored by Apologetics Inc., where I'm the director of content, and we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping people to be captivated by Christianity. If you want to support the work that we do, you can go to apologetics.org/donate or click the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.